I mean, it's just, I mean, it's a really long time, because you think of him, I think of him more as riding like an 85, and then like we talked about the other night, like you're riding an 85, and then oh my gosh, he's on a super mini, and then you get off a super mini, and then it's time to get on a big bike, and then he wants to go pro, and then he went pro, probably went pro a skosh early in my opinion. Had a couple little problems there where he got sick and stuff like that, but his first AMA Supercross he went to, he won, and I think the next one was like a second, and then it's back to a win. And like me and you had maybe talked earlier, it didn't seem like it was going to be too much of a stretch to get this thing rolling and have him be really good. And he was really efficient at Supercross at such a young age. Like he seemed like he just loved it. And then the shoulder injury that happened, and then you got to take time to heal that. So of course that's like you're at the highs of highs running the red plate, and then you're out. So then come back from that, and then there's another injury, and then there's another injury, and it just like couldn't quite get it going. And then obviously there's no perfect time to get hurt. So when you do like a shoulder or a knee or something, the time that it takes to get healed in each one of those overlaps into another series. So you're really starting off behind where everybody else is. It's just nothing ever sort of just really worked, So after last year, plan was to not ride outdoors, and or was that 2 years ago? I don't even remember. Like he needed to get his knee fixed and get it handled, and that was to take the whole time off. And then he had a really good off season this year, I think. And coming into the season, he looked really good. He looked really fit. It was better technique on the bike. I know Nick Way worked with him a lot this year, I think Nick did a great job helping him out. And it was a lot of things, it was on the bike, off the bike, everything. So they worked really well as a team. Started the year off good, maybe not perfect the first round, but then it looked great in Supercross, and then go to Vegas. I really kind of wasn't so stressed there. Thought he had enough to get it done. He was in position to get it done, and then there was just a mistake. And of course that was, terrifying for everybody to watch. And it was like one of those things where when it was over, we even, we talked that night, and I just said, I don't ever want to talk about it. Like, and to this day, I've never watched that race. Like, I record them all, but I just didn't want to see it. Like I saw it live. I didn't want to watch it again. I didn't want to analyze it, try to figure out what it was, and like that one there, like we talked about it, and I'm like, hey, it's a mistake. You're never, ever going to quit making mistakes. That one's it's just over. So like, let it go. And we want to focus on outdoors, and, can't be sad. You can be mad about it, but you got 2 weeks to bounce. And he did, and he was amazing right off the bat, and he kept it together the whole year. He finished on the podium every race. And he had some good guys, and Ferrandis was real strong at the end. So I would say I can't expect any more from him. I think he did a great job. We love him. I love him. My whole family has been around him forever since the little boy, and he knows my kids. They love him, and it's cool to be around somebody like that. And I think he's a really good person, and I think that's super gnarly. He's going to ride a 450, and I expect him to do really well. He's going to Kawasaki, and that's what's supposed to happen. You're Team Green, then you're here, and then you go to Factory Cowie, and that's the process or the bridge that was built a long time ago, and we need to keep it going. I don't know that, like, I feel like a long time ago, feel like it was maybe easier, and like honestly, it was easy. I gotta say, like if you ever saw Ricky Carmichael ride a mini bike, or Bubba ride a mini bike, Travis Pastrana ride a mini bike, then you saw the Alessi and Villapoto type guys, you know, like you kind of had to grab one of them, you know, like it's sort of like they're on another level. But I feel like nowadays, I think there's so many kids that don't go to school, you know, they're homeschooled and they do, you know, these little riding camps or whatever. And the way I equate it is, I think there's like, where there used to be this A guy and the other guys were like, you know, a B, and there was a pretty big difference. Like it was a pretty amazing difference to watch one of those older guys that, you know, that were heroes back in the day. And now it's like we have a lot of, I call them B pluses. There's a lot of guys that are almost similar in the super mini class, some of the 85 classes, 250B, 250A. You see a lot of similarity and equality across the board. And it's like hard to find that guy that's a breakout guy. And then, you know, like we all in the last, you know, 5 years, everybody's picking their guys, and they try to pick them earlier and earlier. And I really kind of question it, because I don't see, or I haven't seen a lot of those guys truly make it. And, you know, back in the day, the old days, you know, we tried to say you need to be riding Supercross at 16 or 17, you know, and I still hear some of the parents like aiming at that. And I think they're nuts, because I think it is different now. And I think that, I think you're asking a lot of a 16-year-old to come in and race Supercross against guys that have been in the class for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, right? So there's some very experienced guys that have it down, and I see that in not only the physical aspect of it, of doing the track and the riding, but then also the fitness side, the fitness side, because I guarantee you all the 250 A or B guys think they're ready, like, right? Because you know what I'm talking about too. So, yep, want to go, I'm ready, I know I can do it, kill those guys. And then you kind of can look at some of the guys that just popped in the class, and they're fantastic, talented, but their fitness needs to be another level too. And it's a big step, and I think it's bigger than they think it is. And then, you know, after maybe a year, they're like, holy moly, I got to do more. So the workload goes up also. It's kind of odd, because I think in order to be that A guy, I think you have to make it through your amateur career without getting hurt a lot. Because just like we're talking about Adam, every time you get hurt, you lose that time. So like if you can stay healthy, you can build on that as a momentum and foundation and everything, right? So I think it's important to, you know, be lucky enough, or maybe not push it quite so gnarly to where you get hurt and then you're back on the couch. So a guy that's healthy and that has got to have some sort of plan put in place to already, I'm not saying training like a full animal, but you got to have some base already down so that it's not a shock to the kid.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are guys that have this natural ability to just, quote, ride the bike, and he's great, but that ain't going to be enough when you turn pro. So you have to have the riding part has to be part of it, but there also has to be this fitness side of it, and that's probably a more of a change for them than they think.
Definitely.
And it ain't always fun. It's not always a blast, and they're not used to probably that. And if they want to avoid something, they're not going to avoid riding the bike. They're going to avoid the work.